Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I'm back, people. It's me, it's him, it's that guy. It's your boy Byrone. Let's shoot the breeze with your man Byron A. Lloyd. I'm him, he is I'm that guy who's pretty fly for a white guy. Look here, man, I'm going to give a few shouts out to get it going because I got to give thanks to the people that make it happen. And, man, I got to give a shout out to my executive producers, first of all. And that's my man Bart Shackles, and he's the owner, proprietor, and the paint master at the only paint company in Little Rock, Arkansas. So if you're in Little Rock and you need somebody to slap some paint who knows what they're doing, who's a pro, call my man Bart Shackles or message me, and I can hook you up with him. By the way, speaking of message, if you got any suggestions or messages or questions or comments, you can message me live during the show on Facebook or on Twitter. And I'll be more than happy to respond. Or you can even go to the Spreaker.com website. They take live messages there. So if I piss you off, you want to cuss me out, feel free, man. It's America. I'm all about freedom of speech. Just message me up and give it to me, and I'll read it out on air. And if you agree with me, you want to give me some kudos, show me some love, give me a virtual high five, I will read that on air too. But other than him, I also... Because unlike Fox News, who say they're fair and balanced, I am. My two executive producers are on both ends of the political spectrum. Bart Shackles is an extremely liberal guy. And my other executive producer is Lisa Reeves. I want to give a shout out because she does Lisa Reeves photography. So you in the St. Francis County area, I ain't got to tell you she's the best going. You know what I mean? In St. Francis County. So you know who to call if you need a shutter bug to snap some top shelf photos. It's Lisa Reeves, her and Todd Gray. You know what I mean? They make it happen on the other end with my hardware. You know what I'm saying? And I told Lisa Douglas I'd give her a shout out because she's like family. She said she'd listen. So here's your shout out, Lisa Douglas. She's done moved into my brother from another mother, Eric Jackson's old apartment, and he passed away a few years ago, man. And it eats me every day, but rest in peace, Easy. I always got love for you, man, on Rosser Street. And I also got to give a shout out to my man Dennis Winston and my cousin Kenneth Hartsfield. These cats are in Florida, and I know Dennis is right in the path. He lives in Orlando, right in the path of the hurricane. But my man is going balls out and said he's not going nowhere. It can't be worse than Charlie. And I'm wishing him the best. I hope it works out for him, man, because not only is he my guy, but he's also a brother in arms when it comes to being a fan of the fabulous Philadelphia Eagles. And you know what I mean? There's not that many of them in my circle of friends anyway. About as many liberals as there is Eagle fans. So, like I said, you can message me on Facebook. You can email me, but that'll take a few days to respond at byrone.lloyd@gmail. Man, I'm on everything. LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. There's not a social media that I'm not all over. I'm social media out, people. And but today, man, I know we're all getting a little burnt out on the national scene, on the presidential election. It's so divisive, and man, and you know, I got into some trouble and made a bunch of conservatives mad a week or two ago. I'm not going to mention any names. But I don't even want to bring it up. I'm not even going to bring it up. People that's on Facebook know. I'll say this right here, though. I always keep it, as the folks say in the street, 100. And even though I shouldn't have said it on that person's page, I stand by every word I said. And I prove my point. Because fake is fake all day long. And I can't stand. I'm like Holden Caulfield, who I named my son after, Catcher the Rye. If you ever read Catcher the Rye, we hate phonies. We hate fakes. We hate plastic people. Don't be plastic. You know what I mean? Be who you are. Like right now, who am I? I'm a broke, crippled guy with a tumor on his spine. That's who I am. Who's got a little podcast. And we'll get to my medical situation. And I want to say I appreciate, man, all the love people show me. Man, I've gotten message after message. Man, I got carpal tunnel syndrome for responding to all the messages today. And I really want to thank folks. You know what I mean? Thanks for showing me some love. It made me feel great, man. Because I ain't going to lie, I'm rattled. And I guess I can talk about that first and get that out of the way. Try to answer a lot of questions because I've been answering the same questions over and over. Here's the deal. About a year ago, I was carrying a server down some icy steps. I fell forward because that's what I do, Lloyd Luck. I fell forward like a ballerina, and my face hit a tailgate. Well, when I hit the tailgate, I knocked out half my teeth, man. I broke my partial. But I also broke my back. I compressed and broke L1 through L4. Well, me being the guy who never goes to a doctor, I didn't go to a doctor. I thought my back was out because, you know, it happens before. I have a herniated disc. I figured I could man up, be Mr. Macho. You know what I mean? Macho man, yeah, brother. And power through it, but that ain't what happened. I woke up on Christmas Day and couldn't walk, so since I couldn't walk, I went to the emergency room. Well, I get into the emergency room, and they inform me after a CAT scan that I have 4 broken vertebrae, and my back is broke. But they set me up with a neurosurgeon. I go see the guy. By the time I see the guy, my bones have stabilized and healed. They grew back together. Not great, but they grew back together and stabilized. But the kicker is the cherry on top because I'm a Lloyd, and us Lloyds have the luck of the cursed Irish. And I tore a nerve from my spine. So I tore a nerve from my spine, and at first he thought it was a bubble of spinal fluid stopping it from going back. So we done epidurals, and let me tell you, boys and girls, if you've never had an epidural, you're missing out on a lot of fun. Because nothing is more fun than getting a bunch of steroids injected into your back, right? And I got a bunch of steroids shot in my back. But the problem is the space is so small because we have spinal stenosis, which is the cavity in your spine. Mine's shrinking. So the more steroids they shoved in, which is thick as a milkshake, it pressed against the nerve, compressed it, and made it more painful. In fact, that last epidural I got was so painful, I told the guy, and I've developed a high threshold of pain during this whole deal. I used to be scared of needles. Now they give me shots on. I don't even know I've been stuck by a needle. That's how high my threshold of pain is now. I used to jump and scream like a girl. Damn near faint. But anyway, so they give me some epidurals. It didn't work. Then they done an MRI and they found out that ripped nerve had got caught between 2 vertebrae and smashed to pieces. So every time I tried to sit down, it would set all my weight on that nerve, which, is not surprisingly a little painful. Feels like somebody, I don't know, is stabbing you in the back with a flaming sword. You know what I mean? So he's like, we'll give you some more epidural, see if it works. Now, you got to understand, this has been going on since January. Well, a couple of months ago I went, and he said that bubble of spinal fluid looked kind of weird. It might be a tumor. So we'll come back in 2 months. And he basically told me I was probably going to live with chronic pain for the rest of my life because the torn nerve was not going to heal itself. And the chances were slim that he could reattach it. So he said, we'll come back and do another MRI. Well, Monday I went and had the MRI. Unbeknownst to me, I go on about my merry way, hump it back to Alexa. The radiologist calls the doctor and quote unquote, the doctor said he was shitting bricks, quote unquote, and said that I had a tumor in my back. Well, the tumor on my spine has done doubled in size in 2 months, which is a big bummer. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't bummed out, a little nervous, a little scared. You know what I mean? It's, like you said to Big Lebowski, grown men do cry, strong men do cry. And yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't cry, but I was rattled, still rattled now. And so what's going to happen is basically, well, first of all, I got stenosis of so if you've ever seen a skeleton, there's a spine, but the bones curve out and make this cavity, a circle. You know what I mean? Well, in that circle is the tumor, and it's in the hole where the nerve's supposed to be. So it's like, have you ever seen the movies where they got the bad guy, they're trying to get him to talk, and he's got a bullet wound, and the tough guy always pushes his thumb or pushes down on the bullet wound? Well, basically, that's what's happening with this tumor. It's pushing in the empty space where the nerve's supposed to go, which is, also kind of painful. I ain't gonna lie to you. On a scale from 1 to 10, I would give it a 10,000. But anyway, so the nerve pushes on it. So what's happening here is, in 2 weeks I'm having surgery. They're ASAP, be fast tracking me to surgery. They're going to, you said the commercial. I was hoping for the little 1-inch incision they sell on the commercial. They put a little Band-Aid on it. And dude's like, thanks, Spinal Institute, and puts on a backpack and skips out of the house like he won the lottery. Well, yeah, of course, that's not what I'm getting. Dude's going to fillet my back open. He's going to flap it open like a $6 million man, like he's installing parts, and he's going to cut off the top part of my spine. The part that makes the cavity and extends out, he's going to cut that off. He's going to try to remove the tumor, or hopefully it's a spinal bubble. Then he's going to try to reattach the nerve. Then he's going to put my spine back together like a Lego set and screw that bad boy down with a Black & Decker. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on. Everybody's asking me questions. That's the real deal. Worst case scenario, of course, is that the cancer is malignant, the tumor is malignant, and the worst case scenario is it's malignant and it's spread to my lymph nodes or somewhere else, kidneys. Because he told me if it's spread to my lymph nodes, it's not looking good for old Rodney Rome. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. I've been legally dead twice in my life. I drowned when I was 8 and was dead as a hammer, and they brought me back. I've been through a bunch of shite in my life, and I should have been dead 20 times. And to go out like this, I refuse to go out like this, man. I've always said, jokingly over the years, I didn't want to be that guy that you read about in the paper that dies from doing stupid stuff, like sticking a screwdriver in a toaster or listen to the radio in a bathtub, the radio falls in the bathtub. No dumb shite, right? And I think this qualifies. You know what I'm saying? Stumbling down some stairs like I'm in the 3 stages. But worst case scenario, it's in my lymph nodes. Then I'm in a fight for my life. You know what I mean? I'm trying to bum you out. I try not to bum myself out. But I want to put it out here because I told myself I'd give myself a 2-day pity party. And then I'd go to warrior mode because people cared for me, showing me love, asking what's happening. And I don't mind telling y'all, but I like telling y'all all at once. And I know I put it on Facebook, put it out there. Because, man, after a couple of days, you don't want to keep reliving it, man. I just want to forget about it till it's time to go down. You know what I mean? Basically, I want to forget about what's happening. Try to get fried out of my mind and forget about what happened, man. I ain't going to lie to you. That's the plan. That's my pre-op operations. You know what I mean? That's my plan. So, anyway, best case scenario, dude cuts off the top of my spine. He pulls the tumor, pops the bubble, whatever it is, screws it back together, fuses my back works, and I can walk. The in-between is barely walk, chronic pain for the rest of my life. So, you know what I mean? The odds are slim. I'm looking at 30% odds of coming out right. But I've always bet on a long shot. I'm that dude. And I definitely bet on me. So I'll take that money. I bet on me. So anybody wants to doubt me, we'll bet on my surgery. Just holler. I got you, but at least want 2 to 1. 2 to 1 and 3 to 1 odds. Maybe 10 to 1. If you want to bet that, take that 10 to 1 bet, you holler. And when I say 10 to 1, I mean, you got 10, I got 1. But anyway, so that's that, man. We're going to get that out of the way. So all my folks, man, that's worried about me, that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? But we want to get into these local politics. And let me get a little sip of this tea. And I know I'm a little mellower than usual. That's because they got me on a bunch of new drugs. I ain't going to lie to you. They got me peeled to the gills. I don't want to run down the list, but just say I'm medicated. pretty decently. Might be even slurred. It sounds like it to me. Anyway, but I'm not over medicated. I took what they told me. Because I've learned the last thing when you're in this kind of pain, last thing you want to do is run out of pills, which is sad. And that's what brings me to issue number 7. Issue number 7 is going to be on the ballot November 7th. And the reason it's so near and dear to me is because there's an opioid crisis in America right now. People are ODing on pharmaceutical opioids, your hydrocodone, your oxycodone, and a lot of people are ODing on heroin. Heroin is coming back. It's all the rage. You know what I mean? We're having a heroin epidemic. In fact, if y'all watch the local news, if you're from around here, it even went viral. I saw it on Raw Story where 2 white people had snorted heroin, and the heroin's super potent now. They're not cutting it. And they snorted heroin in Walgreens, was walking down the streets. They both collapsed and OD'd, and bystanders laughed and filmed them while they were ODing, which is kind of callous because they didn't try to help them. They interviewed one black dude who filmed it and was laughing. So the reason he didn't try to help them was, 1, it was a thin excuse. 1, because somebody else had already called. And 2, he was trying to do a civic service and videotape it and live stream it on Facebook so all the kids could see what the effects of heroin are. But, if you watch the video, it seemed like he was doing it for his own sick entertainment. You know what I mean? It looked like he was going straight to World Star or something with it. But anyway, issue 7 is and I want to get this right, so we're going to read it out. It's the Arkansas Medical Cannabis Act. And so, you know what I mean? It's issue 7. And let me break it down for you what it is. And let me tell you, first of all, about marijuana. People are starting to realize that all these hype and lies you've heard about marijuana that's been perpetrated by the government, the DEA, the big pharmaceutical companies, is because, and I've said it for 20, 30 years, marijuana is a cure-all. And modern medicine is starting to find that out. They have found out, this is no lie, that it prevents certain types of cancer. It slows the effects of Alzheimer's. People say, it used to be a rumor that it killed brain cells. Now the Harvard School of Medicine found out that it not only doesn't kill brain cells, but it does the impossible. It helps regenerate brain cells. And they've always said once brain, this is a fact, you can look it up, I'm well versed in it. They've always said once you lose brain cells, you can never get them back. That's why it's a good treatment for Alzheimer's, because it regenerates brain cells that are dying and it slows down the process of dying brain cells. But it's a cure-all, it cures many things. Chronic pain like I got, and let me tell you something about chronic pain. When you wake up hurting in chronic pain every day, man, it sucks the quality. You just don't know how my quality of life is diminished. You know what I mean? It's hard every day to get up and carry on in excruciating pain because you're going to wake up hurting. And you're going to have to wait an hour or 2 for them pills to kick in. And if you ain't got no pills, it's all day just excruciating pain. And let me tell you, you take your mobility for granted. Just the easiest days like running to the fridge, going to the store, have become a chore for me. You know what I mean? It's truly work just to go to the refrigerator, just to do anything, man. And people that know me know I used to love to pace. And, man, I was a pacing machine. At one point, they put a pedometer on my shoe at work one day, and I was pacing 6 to 8 miles a day. Well, guess what? I don't pace no more. And I got ADHD, man. And when you paced all your life and you don't get to pace no more, let me tell you, man, I'm as crazy as it sounds, I truly miss pacing. I truly do, man. But treat so many things. Like, they have children. There's THC, there's CBDs. And they have children. And these children are having massive seizures, from grand mal seizures, epilepsy, and different kind of ailments. And what they found out though is you can take these CBDs. THC is what gets you high. You know what I mean? That's the ingredient that makes you high. But CBDs does not make you high. But what it does is it kills seizures in kids, man. I've seen videos where kids were having, hundreds of seizures a month, all day long, 20, 30 seizures. They give them CBD oil from marijuana, and it not only reduced the seizures, 90% of the cases, it eliminated the seizures. So these kids can live a normal, full life And you know what I mean? You know how worse it would be as a parent to know that your kid can have a seizure at any time and it kill him? Because these seizures are lethal, man. Any one of them can kill you. It's Russian roulette. So can you imagine how nerve-wracking it is to have the child you love and that child have 10 to 15 seizures a day, and you know that any one of those seizures could be the last one he ever has or her ever has? And CBD eliminates that. And not only does it eliminate chronic pain, man, it eliminates, like I said, they're saying now it cures several types of cancer and prevents a lot of cancer. They're saying that they're thinking it prevents diabetes. And I ain't going to lie to you, I might be living proof of that. I attribute a lot of it to walking. Diabetes runs strong in my family. Everybody in my family, my mother has it bad. Everybody in my family has it. Except for me, my cousin Michelle, my Aunt Sue that I know of, and my Aunt Pat. But everybody else, 20, 30 members of my family have diabetes. Bad. I've never had diabetes. Man, my blood sugar is awesome right now. And now they're saying that's because of marijuana. But let's get down to the legal issues of it. And then, first let me read off what it treats. Alzheimer's. I'm having problems with this one. ALS, arthritis, cancer, Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, glaucoma, hepatitis C. It helps people it slows down the effects of HIV. So people that have AIDS or HIV. And this is something big. They're finding out, and the government's been experimenting with troops coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. It's the best treatment they found for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, Tourette syndrome, ulcerative colitis. Oh, the list goes on. And all these ailments I'm reading to you would qualify you under issue 7 to receive medical marijuana. Yeah, come on now. Chronic or debilitating disease that produces wasting syndrome or I don't even pronounce that. Cachexia. C-A-C-H-E-X-I-A. Chronic or debilitating disease that produces peripheral neuropathy. Chronic or debilitating disease that produces intractable pain. That'd be me. Chronic or debilitating disease that produces severe nausea. That's something else that's been known for years. Usually when you get sick to your stomach, and you're vomiting, they give you Phenergan. But the greatest anti-nausea known to man is marijuana. That's why it works so well with cancer patients and with AIDS patients. Is because, first of all, everybody knows it gives you the munchies and it makes you eat like a beast. So people don't have an appetite. You know what I mean? You people that's got the waste away syndrome or anorexia or cancer or AIDS who don't have an appetite. This will make you eat the bark off a tree. I promise you. I've tested it. Nothing makes you hungry. It makes cardboard taste like filet mignon. That's what the munchies are all about. So that right there, and plus a lot of them when they eat, of course they can't keep it down because all the poisonous medicines they're taking from Big Pharma. So you have the nausea. So it's a 2-for-1. It makes you hungry, and it helps you keep the food down, man. And everybody knows that when you have cancer or anything like that, ALS, and you're wasting away, that nutrients and eating is a big part of that, man. You got to eat to get nutrients and to keep your weight up and to keep your body running properly, right? You got to have water, food, and air. That's the 3 big ones, man. And chronic or debilitating disease that produces seizures, which I was just talking about. Chronic or debilitating disease that produces severe and persistent muscle spasms, which is, unfortunately I got that too. I have incredible back spasms. They're incredible. Almost as painful as the nerve damage I have. Any other medical condition or its treatment approved by the Arkansas Department of Health. Okay? Now that's qualifying conditions for 6 and 7. And I'm going to get to issue 6 and 7. These are the rest of the ones that qualify for issue 7. And I'm going to tell you the difference. You want to vote for 7, but I'm going to tell you the difference between 6. 6 is more corporate and greedy. Okay, this is for 7. So take those conditions I just read you and add these into it. The Crohn's disease, which is, well, that's some Greek there. Idiopathic dolorosa. It's Derkham's disease. I've never heard of that. Anorexia. Arnold-Chiari malformation. Asthma. Attention deficit disorder. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is ADD, ADHD. And I know that works for that because I self-medicated and treated myself with marijuana for decades for my ADHD. You can ask anybody I've done IT work for that knew me real well. If I come in there and I hadn't smoked any pot, they would tell me to go smoke pot so I could concentrate and do my job. I know that's hilarious, but I've actually had clients tell me to go outside and smoke some pot and come back and go to work. Several times, a lot. It happened quite a bit. Autism, bipolar disorder, bulimia. Because what is bulimia? You throw up a lot, man. We all know what bulimia is. It's when you binge eat, you throw up. Golgi, golly, I don't know what this is either. Golgi, CIDP, which is chronic inflammatory. Damn it, there's some words, man. And I'm a decent reader, but I need to get hooked on phonics here. Demyelinating polyneuropathy. Oh, there we go. Look, Ronnie pulled it off. Ding, ding. I should get bonus points there. It's chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, CIDP. Chronic insomnia, which I have insomnia, but unfortunately I'm so jacked up I qualify like 4 different ways. Lupus, interstitial cystis, migraines, man, myasthenia, damn it, man, let me have to get a drink on this. Myasthenia gravis, myoclonus, Neil Patella syndrome, neurofibromatosis, Parkinson's disease. Man, they made some real breakthroughs at marijuana on Parkinson's disease. It stops the shaking, it calms people, and actually slows the effects. Posterior lateral sclerosis, which is PLS. Let me scroll down here. Post-concussion syndrome. And that's something else that's crazy. Which is a known fact, and I've heard many basketball players say this, even back in the day, 70-80% of all professional basketball players smoke marijuana. Phil Jackson encouraged the great Phil Jackson, the coach, not only smoked marijuana, but he encouraged his players to smoke marijuana because he said he'd give them stamina and focus, and it helped with pain, muscular pain, cramps. And I've also heard that nowadays that from football players who's retired that 70-80% of the people who play in the NFL smoke marijuana because for the same reason that I believe marijuana should be legal. That first of all, let me tell you something about marijuana. It's been cultivated for 10,000 years. You can OD on aspirin. You know what I mean? You can OD on cough syrup. You can OD on anything. Ibuprofen. You cannot OD on marijuana. There's never been a case in the past 10,000 years that's been cultivated where somebody has OD'd and died from marijuana, smoking marijuana. It's impossible. It's the only drug I know of that you cannot OD on. You know what I mean? You can go and get, you can OD on laxatives. There's so many any over-the-counter drug you can think of you can OD on, but you can't OD on marijuana, but yet it's a Schedule I drug right up there with heroin. You know what I mean? Which is nuts. Because let me tell you something, you can OD on alcohol. Marijuana is 10 times safer than alcohol. 10 times safer. And you know, they used to think that marijuana does damage to your lungs. But they've done studies now that say just the opposite. That marijuana gives your lungs more volume and expands your lungs because you suck the smoke deeper. And it actually helps you breathe better. That's why on this list it helps treat asthma. That instead of hurting your lungs, that marijuana helps your lungs. Because it opens up the bronchi in your lungs. And the bronchi is what grabs oxygen molecules. And so it opens up the bronchi and expands your lungs. It's almost like a breathing treatment. It is like a breathing treatment. That's why asthma's on the list. like I said, I've done my homework for years on this. I know people are not shocked that know me. I know a thing or two about pot. I know a couple of things about pot. I've tried it once or twice at a party. Anyway, like I said, football players say they smoke it because of the pain. Because they say even though you play football, and like I was saying, instead of taking Vicodin or hydrocodone like they're giving me the strongest hydrocodone made. That shit is poisoning my liver, my kidneys. It's slowly poisoning me. And on top of that, it's highly addictive. Even though I'm not physically addictive now, I've been taking it for 7-8 months. And eventually, even if I don't try, I'm going to get physically addicted to it. Just like if you were forced to eat or smoke a cigarette every day or anything that has addictive properties, drinking caffeine, drinking a cup of coffee every day, you were forced to do that for a year, eventually your body's going to crave coffee, crave that caffeine. You know what I'm saying? This is the same way with these pills. And these pills are killing people by the truckload, man. And so what happened is big pharma, these pharmaceutical companies who are evil. And there's a if you don't believe they're evil, there's a documentary that you can watch called what is it called? Pharma Thugs. What's the name of it? I think it's Pharma Thugs. Anyway, it shows how the pharmaceutical companies have plotted against us. And their plan is to make sure everybody in America is on at least one type of pill. And of course, America pays more for pharmaceuticals than anybody else because our medical system's set up to where instead of we tell them what we're going to pay, it's like a dope deal on the street. They tell us what we're going to pay. So they decide the price and we got to pay it. That's why you see Farmer Bro jacking that AIDS drug up from $15 to $1,500. That's why you see this chick a few weeks ago jack up the EpiPen from $40 or $50 to $600. Is because they take these drugs that save your life and they know you got to have them so they can put outrageous prices on them because you're going to pay them because if you don't, you're going to die. You know what I mean? So it's extortion. And I've said it 1,000 times. That's why we need single-payer health care because everybody thinks we got the greatest medical system there is. And there's no lie. We got the greatest doctors because we have the greatest medical schools. But as far as the greatest medical system, we don't. I can point to the links to right now. They just had a study. We're ranked 12th in the world overall with quality of care, the speed of care, the preventative care, the cure rate, everything. We're ranked 11th or 12th. But we're also ranked as the most expensive by far. We're 10 times more expensive than any other country. But the 11 or 12 countries in front of us are all single-payer, socialized medical care systems like Cuba, like England, like Canada, like France. You know what I'm saying? Because they put health over profit. Here in this country, we put profit over health. And of course, the flaw of capitalism is when you have unregulated capitalism, people are going to get so greedy that they're going to do anything to make a buck. You know what I mean? It's been proven time and time again. Look at 2008 when the economy collapsed. People like Donald Trump made money off that. They bet against the American economy. They short sold what they call a short sale. They bet that the economy would fail, and it did. And there's people who made money off that. If that's not un-American, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? You're supposed to make money off of this country succeeding. You know what I mean? How evil and deviant is that to bet that America fails and then to make a fortune off of it? Disgusting. These bankers are disgusting, man. But anyway, so these pharmaceutical companies do the same thing. We pay so high prices that we pretty much subsidize all the other drugs in the world. Because we pay such high prices in places like Mexico and Africa, they pay a tenth of what we pay. That's the truth. And Canada's the same way. That's why George Bush made it illegal. At one time, people were going to Canada and Mexico to get the pharmaceuticals because they're so much cheaper. But George Bush, of course, they lobbied George Bush, the pharmaceutical company, keep him some money for his campaign, and he helped pass a law to make that illegal, which makes no sense. You should be able to save a buck and go to Canada or order your medicine through the mail, especially if it's non-narcotic. What's it hurt? You know what I mean? They let you order scooters and crap like that off TV and offline all the time. So why couldn't you get at least non-narcotic drugs? And, so like I said, we're ranked 11th. Every country in front of us has socialized medical systems. So all these people think we got the best medical industry in the world is wrong, man, because they put profit over health. And anytime you do that, people are eventually going to get greedy and say, screw this. They're going to have this drug, man. Let's charge them with an arm and a leg because they got to pay it. That's like there's a hepatitis treatment that was super cheap, but now they cure hepatitis C and it takes like 20 weeks. But each pill is like $1,800, man. That's insane. But if you don't take it, your liver dies and you do too. You know what I mean? It's extortion. It's white-collar extortion. It's no different than the mafia back in the day coming to you and coming to your business saying, you're going to give us $1,000 a week or we're going to kill you. You know what I mean? It's no different. It's sickening, man. But like I said, I know I'm getting off on a tangent because I always do. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Marijuana's a cure-all. Listen to all the things it treats here. Let me go back to it. Residual limb and phantom pain, restless leg syndrome, which also is part of diabetes. My mama has restless leg syndrome, RLS. This is a tough one. Spinocerebellar ataxia, SCA. I don't know what that is. I'm sure it has to do something with your spinal cord. I'd have to look it up. A spinal cord injury and or disease, including but not limited to arachnoiditis, syringomyelia, damn, it's some hard words. And I'm a decent reader, but shit, there's some Greek. Syringomyelia, Tarlov cyst, TBI, traumatic brain injury. Well, I have a friend that's got that. Jesus Christ, I know that cure. People probably know what I'm talking about. No wonder she don't even smoke pot, and all of a sudden she's on the issue 7 bandwagon. She needs a ton of it because her TBI's got her doing some WTF shit. You know what I mean? Pardon my French. I'm trying to keep the bad language to a minimum because I know my aunt listens and my uncle listens, and I'm 3rd generation broadcaster, disc jockey, so I try to keep up the family name. But it treats all that. But let me tell you the big difference between 7 and 6. Okay? The status of medical marijuana in Arkansas. In Arkansas, the possession and use of marijuana for medical purposes is illegal. Voters narrowly defeated an initiative to legalize medical marijuana in 2012. They got lost by 2 percentage points. Medical marijuana is legal in 25 states, and cannabis oil is legal in an additional 15. But while marijuana is still illegal at the federal level, enforcement of federal marijuana laws is often not strict against state legal medical marijuana. In December 2014, Congress passed a law that prohibits federal agents from raiding medical marijuana growers in states where medical marijuana is legal, effectively allowing states to legalize medical marijuana. And here's the initiative design. Issue 7 would legalize medical marijuana for use in Arkansas. The measure would allow for the establishment and regulation of not-for-profit marijuana dispensaries. So it'd be like weed stores like you see in Colorado, but of course, you'd have to have a prescription. And unlike California, where you could get a medical marijuana card for a headache, for blinking too fast, for anything, you know what I mean? It's way more stricter in Arkansas. It's way more regulated. So for people who are on the fence, you're thinking, I don't want to vote for medical marijuana because everybody be using the excuse to just go get a card and get high. It's not that easy. You got to have one of these diseases or ailments to get it, and it's got to be proven. It's got to be documented. You just can't go there and tell them you got it, and they hand you a card like in California. Anyway, labs would test the marijuana quality. State and local taxes on sales would be applied to medical marijuana. Revenue from these taxes would be allocated to provide to low-income patients with medical marijuana. So that means they'll take the taxes and revenue, their excess, and they would provide for poor, sick people who can't afford medical marijuana but who are dying and need it. Patients, and here's the big kicker, here's the big caveat on issue 7. Excuse me, patients who live more than 20 miles from the nearest dispensary would be permitted to grow marijuana for personal use. The Arkansas Department of Health would oversee the medical marijuana program. But right now, shockingly, even though they only lost by 2 points last time, our governor used to be the drug czar, and he's missing forward badly about a lot of things. And our attorney general, which I'll get to her in a little bit, but our attorney general's a joke. I've seen her on television. I don't know why all of a sudden she's appearing on CNN and a few other news channels. And what she said is such an embarrassment. The newscasters have laughed at her. Literally laughed at her. And who's it? Bob Schiffer, who's an old guy on CBS 60 Minutes, one of the nicest guys in the news media, took her to the woodshed a couple weeks ago and made her look like a fool. And I've never seen him do that in the 43 years I've been alive. He's always been nice and respectful. And he later said, how did this woman become Attorney General of Arkansas? The state should be embarrassed. And we should. I don't know how this chick got elected. Her name is Lisa Rutledge. Oh, my God. And even if you're conservative, and I know 90% of the state is, you should still be ashamed. She is one of those chicks that you can tell not only is kooky, but she'll flip-flop, and she's willing to do anything to advance her career. You can tell she's going on TV because she thinks it's going to, catapult her to the governor's seat or to the U.S. Senate. But she's such a dumbass that every time she's been on there, they made fun of her. You can Google her. You can probably Google Lisa Rutledge. That's Rutledge with a D, Rutledge, and see the gaffes. Or Google her and Bob Schiffer, Bobschiffer, and watch that. And when you see Bob Schiffer, you'll be like, oh, I remember that guy. He's been around forever. That's a nice old dude. And watch him take her to the woodshed because she's totally incompetent. You know what I mean? But she's against it. And for that reason, instead of it being close like it is last time, the last poll they took, 53%, let's say 36% was in support and 53% was opposed. So, somehow we go from, I think it was 52 to 48 last time, down to 36%. I mean, that's only one poll. We don't know how accurate that poll is. But look at all the ailments and things it can treat. Serious things like ALS. It can stop kids from having deadly seizures. Man, it can stop people from having anorexia or chronic pain. All this, and it's safe. You know what I mean? It's almost 100% safe. You know what I'm saying? You can't OD from it. It does not it's not physically addictive. That's something else people don't know. Marijuana's not physically addictive. It's got weird properties that no other drug does because it's a flower from a plant. There's no chemical process. Any other drug, you got to go through a chemical process, mix with other drugs in a beaker. Cocaine, meth, you got to mix that. You watch Breaking Bad, you got to mix that in a beaker, put all these chemicals, deadly chemicals together. Cocaine's the same way. Marijuana is like picking an apple off a tree and eating it. You just pluck what they call a bud off the plant, let it dry and smoke it. There's no chemical process. It's not physically addictive. You can't OD from it. It treats 20 to 60 major ailments that we know about. It prevents at least 4 types of cancer, 4 to 8 types of cancer, and they say it will cure 2 or 3 more types of cancer. They're thinking it prevents diabetes. They know it slows Alzheimer's and can possibly someday cure Alzheimer's, but it tends to slow the effects greatly. And Parkinson's, same thing, greatly and dramatically slows the effects of Parkinson's and ALS. And these are brutal diseases that, you know what I mean, that suck the quality of life and will out of people to live. If you've ever had a loved one or somebody you know that's had these diseases, they're heartbreaking. You know what I mean? When you see people get self-assisted suicide, it's for ALS or Parkinson's because they're such brutal diseases. So it's all about quality of life. It improves your quality of life. So AIDS, cancer patients who can't eat or wasting away to nothing, and who can't keep nothing down. They puke everything back up. Not only does this make them eat and put on weight and keep on weight, but it keeps the food down. And the 30 or 40 ailments I just read to you, that's just what the government says. I know at least 60 more they say it cures. And you know, when I was a younger man and said it was a cure-all, people laughed at me. But I knew it was a cure-all, and it is. It's modern science has cut through the government hype and lies, because the government's been lying about it, because pharmaceutical companies have been backing it. And the FDA's, and this ain't no conspiracy, it's pretty well known. The FDA pretty much does what big pharmaceutical companies says. And if you don't believe me, look at your TV at night. You see these new drugs come out, and they're going to cure the world, man. And what happens? 6 months later, you see a commercial on TV, the lawyer's suing because this drug is killing somebody. Or just watch these commercials and listen to the brutal side effects like diarrhea, headaches. You hear all these brutal side effects. Marijuana has no side effect. There is no side effects from marijuana. Even like alcohol. Alcohol, you know, there's long-term side effects, but alcohol, you even have a hangover. You don't even get a hangover from marijuana. After 2, maybe 3 hours tops, you're back to normal. So you got to think, it's a all-natural plant now, that does not give you any kind of side effects. You can't OD from it. Where do you go wrong? How can it be illegal? That's what I ask you people. It's all natural. So, you know, spread the word, because if they make this legal, I can get off these pain pills. These pain pills are killing me. They're destroying my liver. You know what I mean? And they're physically addictive. And most of these drugs are physically addictive. Like I said, I'm going to walk outside. It's a good thing about having a podcast and doing it with a mobile condenser mic and a laptop, that I can go outside and smoke. So you might hear a car. And I know, oh man, I'm hurting. Oh, see, I'm hurting now. And I know I'm more mellow than I usually am. I'm not as excitable as I usually am. That's because, man, they got me on all these drugs, man. You know what I mean? It's taking the spark out of me. It really is. And I'm not that way on marijuana. In fact, I'd be giggling and laughing and probably making jokes. Like people know me to be a jokey guy. I'm not the jokey guy I used to be, man. I'm really not. And it's really tough on me. But like I said, the difference between issue 6, though, the main difference is they took out the grow your own provision. And they only about half the first half of those diseases and ailments I read are the only ones that qualify for you. But excuse me, unfortunately, I'm so jacked up, I qualify on either one. But like I said, we need to pass issue 7. Where can you go wrong? You know what I mean? People know, especially nowadays. A lot of people have tried marijuana. You know that all it does is make you hungry and giggle. You know what I mean? You know it treats your pain. And if you're depressed, you know it treats depression. You know it makes you happy. It has no side effects. Excuse this car. No side effects. You can't OD from it. It's all natural. You know what I mean? All these other drugs are just teeming with side effects, man. Hell, watch the commercials. You know, at the end, they always say, listen, side effects, and you'll be shocked. And if you watch that documentary, Pharma Thugs, you see that these pharmaceutical companies got a plan. But here's a perfect example. These statin drugs they sell, take away cholesterol. Well, the biggest maker of the statin drug, I forget the name of the pharmaceutical company, but the biggest side effect is impotency, erectile dysfunction. But guess what they also make? Viagra. And see, that's what these pharmaceutical companies try to do nowadays. They'll sell you a drug that gives you side effects, but they'll make another drug that cures those side effects, and so on and so forth. But that drug's got side effects, so you got to take another drug, man. It's ridiculous. And that's why I'm stressing it so hard, because right now, man, my pain level's about at 7. That's why I'm all mellow, man. I'm hurting bad. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to have to go in here. I'm just going to have to take another hydrocodone that's filled with opiates and Tylenol that's going to destroy my liver, man, and physically make me physically addictive eventually. And people OD from this stuff all the time. And now that the government is tightened up the regulations on these opioids, people are going to heroin because it's cheaper and stronger. And now the pharmaceutical companies have not only created an opioid epidemic, they've created a heroin epidemic. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. And people self-medicate with alcohol, but you cannot OD on marijuana. It's not physically addictive. It's ridiculous that it's even Schedule 1. It's ridiculous that it's even illegal. You know what I mean? And I could get into the reasons. I know you're going to hear this car, and I can get into the reasons why it's illegal. And it all goes back to the Mr. Anslinger, and this ain't a conspiracy, it's a fact, and William Randolph Hearst. He's the one that really made it illegal back in the day, because they also found out marijuana, you can make a bunch of products with it. And that for every acre of marijuana, you can make paper. For every acre of paper you can make from marijuana, it'd take 4 acres of trees. And William Randolph Hearst found this out, and he owned all the paper mills and biggest newspapers in the country. And he figured that people started growing marijuana because they had this big thing during World War II to grow hemp, that they would put him out of business. So he robbed a bunch of senators and started putting in his newspapers that black men would smoke marijuana and rape white women to scare white people into believing marijuana is evil. You know what I mean? And that only Latinos and black folks would smoke it, and they would go into these violent rages and rape and kill people. And this is the truth. You can look it up. This ain't no crazy conspiracy. But that's the root cause of marijuana. And you know what I mean? Finally, people started seeing for themselves that it's all natural. And I'm going to get off my soapbox here, because I've been soapboxing about weed for about an hour, and I could go on for another 2 hours. But you need to spread the word. We need to pass this so people like me with chronic pain can treat it all naturally. And I don't have to worry about ODing. I don't have to worry about getting addicted. I don't have to worry about it destroying my body or taking away my quality of life. And you know what I mean? And on the other hand, you got to think about people who have major diseases like ALS or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. It slows the effects and it increases their quality of life. And cancer patients and AIDS patients, it makes their life better. And it makes them live longer. You know what I mean? And it's all natural. So anyway, but I get off my soapbox. But I'm going to do another show about it, issue 7, because I can't stress how strong, and all politics are local, I can't stress how strongly I'm behind this, and everybody should be, because at this age, most people my age and younger have tried marijuana, and you can see it's basically harmless. It ain't completely harmless, but it's way more harmless than any other drug out there. It's safer than any drug. It's safer than aspirin. You know what I mean? You can OD on vitamins. It's safer than any over-the-counter drug they sell. It's safer than alcohol. You know what I mean? When's the last time you ever seen anybody get stoned and go on a violent rampage, or get in a fight like they do on alcohol, or drive drunk and kill a bunch of people? When's the last time you heard somebody driving stoned and kill a bunch of people? You don't hear it, man. It don't happen. You know what I'm saying? Because you get what us hippies call couch lock. You get high, you don't even leave the house to drive. You just sit there and eat PBJs and watch cartoons, man. Watch Tom and Jerry. And now we're going to get to the part. I know we're all sick of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I know this. But Donald Trump in the past week has come off the hinges. He lost the debate. You know what I mean? He lost the debate. We all know that. Except for Donald Trump, who claims he still won the debate. And for all the people who watch Fox News, who completely told him he won a debate, but in the experts' eyes and all the scientific polls they done, he lost. Now, all the polls he cites all these online polls, but these online polls are skewed, because the online poll, I could go and vote 1,000 times on that poll. You know what I mean? So they're not scientific at all. And he even cited a Google poll, and Google didn't even do a poll. You know what I mean? And then he went back to doing what he always does, belittling women and fat shaming and slut shaming women like Miss Universe. He wouldn't even let it go. And that's something else that's the fault of Donald Trump. He won't apologize. Donald Trump's been wrong several times, and he won't even take account. He won't even be accountable for it and apologize. Did Hillary Clinton screw up by having a private server? Yes. But she took responsibility for it and said, I screwed up. I shouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have done it. It was a bad thing. Did she get hacked? No. Did she release government secrets? No. That's all hype on the right. Just like the Benghazi conspiracy. They had 8 investigations and they cleared her. But people who are on the alt-right and read Breitbart and all these quasi-right-wing news sites, I tell you that she let the people die, even though Ambassador Stevens was one of her best friends and volunteered to go just for Hillary and knew the risk. Not to mention that the Republicans cut funding for embassy security the year before for all embassies nationwide. So there's plenty of blame to go around. But even Hillary took responsibility for that on national TV and said she was the boss. And as the boss, it was her fault because she oversaw everything. So at least Hillary Clinton is man or woman enough or human enough and responsible, mature enough to admit she made a mistake. And she's sorry and she will correct it like a normal human being. Donald Trump brags that he's never regretted anything or he's never sorry for anything. What human being don't apologize? What human being has never made a mistake or had a regret? You see what I'm saying? What kind of egomania does that cat have and narcissism to think that? But, perfect example, Mike Pence. And see, I was going to wait and try to do a post-debate show, but so much happened in that week when the Donald Trump Foundation got shut down because it wasn't legally registered. And Donald Trump had, even though he said the Clinton Foundation was crooked, which they investigated the Clinton Foundation, and found out, and this is a fact, this ain't me, because I'm not even voting for Hillary. This is a fact. You don't even have to spend it. Don't you love my show when you get to hear cars go by? But I'm about done smoking. But anyway, who else does a podcast where you can hear cars go by? You know what I mean? I keep it all natural. I keep it gritty and straight. But anyway, like I said, the Trump, he harped on the Clinton Foundation over and over. It was crooked. It was pay to play. They investigated and found out that Hillary didn't benefit at all. Didn't benefit at all from the Clinton Foundation. There was no pay to play. That the foundation has a higher rating than the Red Cross. It's one of the highest rated charities in the world. Then they started digging into Trump's foundation. What did they find out? Trump ain't donated $1 to his own charity since 2008. So all the money he's been giving out is other people's money, and he spent that money on himself, which is he's now under investigation for it because it's illegal. He spent over $250,000 settling lawsuits with donors' money. He bought Tim Tebow helmet for $11,000 and 2 portraits, self-portraits, that he bought with that money. That's illegal. He also, when we had an embargo in Cuba, spent $68,000 on the slide down there, which is illegal against federal law because there was an embargo at the time, to try to do a secret hotel deal, which is completely un-American. And I can get into the fact that he talks about American jobs, but then he buys Chinese steel and aluminum to build his buildings, or the fact that all his clothes are made in Bangladesh or China or Mexico. You know what I mean? But then he harps on all these Mexican jobs when he can be employing all these Americans, but he chooses not to. But all these bombshells kept dropping about Donald Trump. You know, and the big one was during the debate that he lost almost $1 billion in a year in the casino business. And then he gave the tax system, where he wouldn't have to pay taxes for almost 18 years. He don't even have to pay a dime in federal tax. And he said it was smart. So what does that say? How condescending is that and arrogant is that? If that is smart, not to pay taxes, what does that make the regular people like us? You know what I mean? And I know when I say this, all my conservative friends are doing this. You know what I mean? Because they hate it. But when I try to talk to Trump, when I try to get Trump supporters on here and talk about facts, they don't want to show up because Trump don't speak in facts. In fact, you can go to PolitiFact and see that he lies. He's only told the truth 13% of the time. But he uses this trick called deflection. And the trick of what deflection is, you blame your opponent of things you're guilty of. And if you say it enough times and say it louder, people will believe it. And you know what I mean? Psychologists have proven it. They've done studies and proven it. So he's done it on the foundation. He claimed the Clinton Foundation was crooked. Come to find out, it was his charity foundation that was crooked. And I know my conservative friends hate to hear this. These are facts, man. It ain't like it was opinion. These are facts. And like the old adage says, you're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts. Just because you believe it don't make a fact untrue. A fact is a fact. It's always true, even if you don't believe it. So what does he do? Trump Foundation. And then it comes out he probably ain't paid federal tax in 18 years a dime. And then he said it was smart. And then his surrogate said it was genius. Well, if that's genius to game the system, what does it make the regular people like us that pay taxes? Dumb? Because that's what he implied, that people that pay taxes are stupid. Because if not paying taxes is smart, then paying taxes is stupid. That's that's the implications of it. And but when I try to talk to Trump supporters to get him on here, this is what I get from him. That's actual audio recording from a Trump rally. I actually taped that at a Trump rally. You know what I'm saying? But that's all. And that's all I'm saying. You had the tax scandal. You had the fat shaming, slut shaming scandal. What else fell apart? Then they found out about the Trump Foundation, or the Trump Foundation charity, which is now under investigation by the Attorney General of New York, and they've shut it down to where he can't solicit money anymore. You know what I mean? And the fact that he wasn't even spending his own money. And look, he's a billionaire. The Clintons have released 34 years or 42 years of taxes. All their taxes back 30-something years or maybe even 40 years. They made millions of dollars last year on book sales and speeches. You know what I mean? And I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton giving speeches to corporate America and getting paid $500,000, $1 million for them. But they donated over $5 million to their own charity. Donald Trump donated $0 to his own charity. And almost scammed the vets. It took 8 months for him to pay the veterans the money he allegedly raised when he skipped the debate in February or March. But I'll get off on Donald Trump. But I'm just telling you facts here, people. And I know people don't like to hear it, but these are facts, man. You know what I mean? It's sad. And, he makes the point that people, they laugh at America and think we're weak. No, I know people overseas that I talk to, and I read papers from overseas, and they're shocked that Donald Trump's even made it this far. They can't believe that somebody from a reality TV show has made it to the Republican nominee and possibly could be president, man, because he has no temperament for it. Look how he freaked out like a child during the debate. Look how he wouldn't let Miss Universe go. He's up at 3 o'clock in the morning tweeting that she's disgusting and tweeting that she had a sex tape. And come to find out she don't even have a sex tape. He made that up too. You know what I mean? Is that presidential? Say what you want about Hillary Clinton. Sure, she's done things that are unethical. But compared to Donald Trump, she looks like the Pope, man. Seriously. And all of that, who calls people's names? Donald Trump made fun of a disabled person. Donald Trump just last week made fun of Hillary Clinton having pneumonia. So who does that? What president? My son's 12 years old. He knows better to make fun of disabled people or to make fun of sick people or to fat shame or body shame somebody. He's 12. We're talking about a 70-year-old man who's up at 3 o'clock in the morning on Twitter making fun of people, man. Who does that? That's not presidential. In fact, I think that's mental. You know what I mean? And the fact that it's even this close is sad. It really is. And Donald Trump has proven that during the debate, he said a bunch of nothing like a con man always does. He didn't speak just like a con man, he didn't speak in specifics. He don't have a specific plan to do anything. His tax plan that he released, 80% or better of the major economists in America said it would cost us millions of jobs and $3 trillion in debt right out the gate and possibly collapse the economy. The German Ministry of Finance the other day looked at his tax plan, and they said it would collapse the economy. And you can go Google this, man. This is nothing to make it up. This is fact. So I'm not a Hillary fan, but when it comes down, she's way more qualified and competent. You know what I mean? Donald Trump actually said there was an Iranian boat who flipped off one of our naval ships. Donald Trump said he'd go to war over that. Donald Trump said he'd give out nuclear weapons like candy to Japan, to Saudi Arabia. So why would we give nuclear weapons to Saudi Arabia? You know what I mean? They teach the most radical form of Islam there is, they fund more terrorist acts than any other country other than maybe Iran in the world. And he's talking about he would give them nuclear weapons. How crazy is that? In a time when we should be eliminating nuclear weapons, he wants to pass them out. And then he praises Vladimir Putin. Then I hear my right-wing friends fall right in lockstep with him and say, Vladimir Putin's a strong leader. Vladimir Putin's a dictator. Man, it's more not un-American to even talk good about Vladimir Putin. Look what he's done to his people. You know what I mean? He's a dictator. It's un-American to even say that, man. But let's get to the polls. I'm going to stop railing on him because I could rail on him all night. But everything I just said is fact. You can replay it and Google India, but even if you don't like it, it's still fact. So right now in the polls, Hillary Clinton's trending up. She was 2 points down. Now she's about 5 points up and climbing. But the battleground states is what's major. And Hillary Clinton right now was behind in Florida. She's winning in Florida. She was behind by 8 points in Pennsylvania. Now she's up by 6. You know what I mean? She's up at all of them. North Carolina, Colorado, Nevada. It's not looking good for Trump, and for good reason. Because people are shady for who he is. And, you know, it's sad but true that these are the two candidates we had to choose from because I was a Bernie guy. But it's night and day compared to both of them. She's done everything but be president. They can harp on her all they want. They call her Crooked Hillary. When the crook is Donald Trump, it's obvious. There's a mountain of evidence against him. And all they can scream is she deleted the emails. Well, the Bush administration deleted millions of emails. Where was the right-wing outrage then? Colin Powell deleted emails. John Kerry. And they all kept private servers and done the same thing Hillary did. Where was the outrage then when they had private email servers? So it tells you it's politically motivated. There's been 8 or 9 investigations against Hillary, Senate investigations, that's cost us millions of dollars, I think $40 or $50 million. She's been investigated more over those emails than Nixon was over Watergate, than Reagan was over Iran-Contra. So that just tells you it's politically motivated. And each time when they find out, she did all she could. You know what I mean? But even though she went in the wrong, she still had the integrity to stand up and accept responsibility for it, man. Even though she didn't have to. But Donald Trump refuses to accept responsibility for anything. But he takes credit for everything. Just like him asking Russian hackers to hack the Democratic National Party, and they did 5 days later. How's that not treason? You know what I mean? It's definitely un-American. Even if you hate Hillary, it's un-American to ask a foreign entity to hack our election system. And now there's been 22 states where their computerized voting systems have been hacked, which I've told people for years I always use a paper ballot. I'm in the IT business. Any computer that's networked to the computer can be hacked. Don't ever vote on a computer. Ever. But that just shows you almost half the states have been hacked by Russians. So they're trying to literally change the outcome of this election. And they very well may by the end of it. Donald Trump keeps saying it's rigged. It might be rigged, but it might be rigged in his favor because he seems to be the one that's cozy with Putin. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand. Donald Trump has shown you. If the debate didn't show you he was incompetent, nothing will. And look, this is a time where you got to put the party to the side and think we're all Americans, and you got to do what's best for America. This ain't a popularity contest or a likability or miscongeniality contest. Hillary's not likable, but she's competent. I could care less if I like the president as long as they can do the job. And Trump has shown time and time again he knows nothing about the job, foreign policy or domestic policy. This is the last thing I'll say. Perfect example. Mike Pence done well in the debate, and by most people's accounts, he won the debate the other night. Donald Trump took credit for that because he said he picked Pence. That was his first guy he was going to make vice president, which is a lie because he offered it to Kasich first, and Kasich turned him down. And this is a report from a Kasich top aide who said Donald Trump told him he could run the domestic and foreign policy, which is basically the entire job of being president, and that Donald Trump would be going around America, making America great again. So that's what I'm saying. Donald Trump is a vapid, shallow, narcissistic, incompetent con man. He always has been. He's not even a good businessman. When I hear people say I'm voting for him because he speaks his mind or because he's a good businessman, that's what they always say. What good businessman loses $1 billion in the casino business? You know what I mean? Who loses any money running the casino, much less $1 billion? And you can Google it and see his casinos compared to the other casinos at the time. And they were kicking his ass, man. They were mopping the floor with him profit-wise. So if this man can't even make money running a casino, what is he going to do for this country? He's going to bankrupt us, just like he did his businesses. And the list of him stiffing the little guy goes on and on and on, where people would do work for him and he wouldn't pay them. Then he would take them to court and pay pennies on a dollar, and he'd put the little guy, the small business owner out of business. And I've always stuck up for the little guy. And you know what I mean? And for Donald Trump to win, that means the little guy's got to lose. And that's not what America's all about. America's all about the little guy winning and coming together as a country and being unified. And he's trying to divide us. And he's doing a good job of it, because you can't even talk to a Trump supporter, because anytime you hit with a fact, they start calling you names and get infuriated, call you names, and then sit there and regurgitate the same lies they've said on Fox News or Donald Trump repeat over and over. That are easily fact-checked. You know what I mean? If you don't believe me, people, and I know if I got any conservatives listen, go to factcheck.com or .org. No, my bad, PolitiFact. Go to PolitiFact.com and just see who lies the most. It's not even close. They put all their statements, major statements there, and they've fact-checked every one of them. Donald Trump has only told the truth 13% of the time. But yet he calls Hillary a liar, and she's told the truth 50 or 60% of the time. Go see for yourself. Don't believe me. Just like I tell people, don't believe what you see on cable news. Go read for yourself. Go learn for yourself, do your own research. Go to PolitiFact. You know what I mean? Go to factcheck.org and see, go to Snopes and see what the truth is, man. But, I'm going to get off here. Like I said, I appreciate all the love everybody's shown me, all the messages about my health and my health condition, and, all the good wishes and good vibes and prayers. From the bottom of my heart, man, I thank you. I really do. I ain't going to lie to you. I hate them so mellow, man, but that's because they got me all kind of medicine, and I'm hurting, man. So, plus, having a tumor in your spine and the surgery is real risky. It's kind of weighing on me, man. So, right now it's hard for me to be the funny guy. I'm going to try, though. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not feeling it. I'll get it back, though. And I know it's probably the most mellow episode I've ever done in Shoot the Breeze, but, hey, they all can't be scream fest with me going bonkers, right? But I'm going to get off here, man, one more time. And for the studio crowd, I'm glad y'all showed up, because I take this live in the studio. Calm down. They want to hear more. Thank you. It's enough. Thank you. Calm down. Sit down, people. I'm getting a standing ovation here. But anyway, this is your man, Byron A. Lloyd. This is Shooting the Breeze with your man, Byron A. Lloyd. Go learn for yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe what you see on TV. Go get the facts. Even though everything I told you is a fact, go get the facts. And like I said, I'm not a Hillary supporter, man. She screwed up. She screwed up a few times, but at least she was decent enough and had enough integrity to be accountable. You know what I mean? And that's a big thing in my book. It's to be accountable and say, I screwed up. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm going to correct the problem. You know what I'm saying? That's all we want in a president, because everybody screws up. Donald Trump's going to say he didn't screw up, blame it on somebody else, then talk about how great he is. That's what he always does. Let me make sure I'm on this if I missed anything. I don't think I did, man. I was in so much pain I couldn't really do that much homework tonight. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Connor Eldridge. Before I get off,